Hey guys, Tia here with deadlifts. This is like my favorite lift in the entire gym, okay? Now I'm not in the right spot in the gym to do these, but for the purposes of this film, go with me. All right, so here we are. We've got our barbell and we've got our plates, okay? First things first, if you don't have Olympic plates, bumper plates like this height right here does matter, okay? So long story short, if you're using plates like this, if you don't have bumper plates, those rubbery Olympic plates, put something underneath your plates to get about that height, okay? These are not high enough. These are pretty close. 45s are close, but if you're using 25s, consider turning these sideways to stack up a little bit, okay? If you're taller, I'm gonna say if you're 5'11", 6 foot and above, you're gonna need to put probably platforms underneath you as well, okay? So you're gonna take plates like this, put them on their side, underneath the plate to start, okay? If you're normal height, if you're below 5'10" for girls or guys, then you're gonna work with these bumper plates, okay? So there's that. I recommend doing these with a barbell, okay? If you're working out at home, try RDLs instead, unless I specifically recommend something different. But this is a unique pattern, okay? This is one of the 3 biggest lifts in the whole gym for a reason, okay? So don't try to mess with this setup too much. This is a really important, huge key lift that is important to so many goals across the board, all right? I can't stress that enough. This is a really big one, okay? So first, if you're starting here cold on day 1, I recommend watching my squat video and my RDL video, okay? You have to have the squat and the RDL to really go into the deadlift, okay? So start with those, all right? Now, next, all right, let's go bottom to top, footwork up, okay? So, most people start with a strict or conventional deadlift about here, something about hip width apart, okay? Since I have a long torso, right, I tend to, and I have really narrow hips, okay, I tend to stick with strict, like this, okay? If you have really wide hips or you're very tall, you might want to consider going sumo, something like this. Sumo doesn't work for me at all, like I said, because I have narrow hips and I've got a long torso, so I have a really long way to get over. It doesn't work for me, but there are clients that I have that just fall into the sumo position and it's their position forever, okay? So again, if you're tall, wide hips, consider something like this, okay? But the traditional deadlift is what I'm gonna go with here today. So my feet are about hip width apart, maybe ever so slightly wider, okay? If you've been watching any of my other videos by now, you know that your feet have to be tight, okay? I always say, push your feet into the ground, okay? Make sure you're very grounded, all right? You can't just stand here all loosey-goosey. You have to have tension throughout your whole body. This is a staple for every lift that we do. Tension rules in the weight room, okay? So get your footwork first, ground your feet second, okay? Now I want you to, camera person, if you could show how close my legs are to the bar, okay? I'm gonna start right about here, right? I've only got about an inch of space or so between my shins and the bar. This is really important, okay? You don't wanna start too far back, otherwise you'll surprise yourself when the bar hits mid-rep, okay? And it's not going to allow for maximum lat engagement, okay? So you do wanna start close to the bar. All right, so get your footwork, okay? Make sure your feet are tight, start in the right position, okay? So once we're there, okay, next is hands. Hands come down and grab the bar just outside the legs. You want that to be minimal in terms of distance between leg and hands, okay? Unless you're doing something very special, like trying to get more lats involved into your deadlift, which would not allow you to pull the most weight, it wouldn't be a strength-oriented goal. You wanna have those hands right outside of your legs to maximize efficiency, okay? And on that note, efficiency is everything in all lifts, but especially power lifts, right? So we want to be maximally efficient, and the shortest distance between 2 points, between the ground and the top, is a straight line, okay? So we want to set ourselves up to make this bar travel in a directly straight line, bottom to top. This is true on your squat, on your bench, on your lat pull down, all your big lifts, okay? So keep that in mind. When I'm watching from the side, I want that bar path to be perfectly straight, okay? Another reason why we don't start too far back, because then the bar is going to curve on the way up, right? Makes sense. So we're starting in the right position. We've got our hands in the right position like this, okay? Now, like I said, if you've seen my squat and my RDL video, you'll know that the deadlift is a combination of both, right? Here's my squat from the side, right? It looks like this. See the degree of hip and knee flexion? Okay, now here's an RDL, right? Much less of virtually no knee flexion. The deadlift is somewhere in between. It looks like this, right? So you have to marry the two to find that perfect deadlift form. Now, everybody's going to deadlift differently. Your proportions might be different than mine. You might have a really long femur or a really short tibia or longer legs, or you're a sumo, that's going to change your proportions, right? So everybody deadlifts differently. So when you see people deadlifting in the gym, don't do what they're doing, okay, just because it's what they're doing. It may not be correct, first of all, and it might not be correct for you, second of all. Okay, so know that what we're looking for, if you're in the right position here, if your arms are straight down and wrists are not flexed, right? Wrists are straight down like this, shoulders are back, okay? Shoulders are back. From here, we want a flat back and chin neutral. Like I said, if you've been watching my other videos, that should be old hat to you by now. Okay, so back is flat, chin is neutral. From here, glutes are loaded, okay? And all you're going to do is try to achieve that straight line up. Drive through your glutes, okay? Most muscles here are isometric, meaning holding the contraction, but your glutes are taking your hips from flexed to extended. So in watching your deadlifts, I'm looking for your glutes to lead the movement. If I can't see your glutes, you're missing something. You're putting the weight into your low back, which is a recipe for disaster, okay? Now you are gonna feel this in your low back a little bit because you are working those muscles, but predominantly you should be in your glute max. Okay, so here's a couple of reps, let's put it all together. Okay, notice how I came to a dead stop at the bottom? Don't bounce off the bottom, okay? A lot of people, when they're new or they don't know what they're doing or they're trying to cheat, they'll get that little bounce off the bottom and it's just cheating, right? So don't do it. And make sure that you stick that lockout at the top. Glutes tight, chest up, eyes on the mirror, okay? This lift has so much potential to be a key for strength, building muscle, building endurance. This lift is pervasive, perhaps more than any other lift that we have in the whole gym through so many different genres, okay? So make sure that you put in the time to master this move. Film yourself from the side, right? And if you're on one of my programs, send me some videos so that I can see. This one is so important, all right? So make sure that you learn it and do it often.